our local school boards have full legal authority, so that they're not giving up any legal authority to the national board. There's just a relationship between that board and the national board around the management contract, et cetera. So it's you could split off a Rocketship school and it would stand on its own with its own local school board. It just happens to have a relationship with Rocketship National for the services provided.
I see. Okay. And
President Smith, CAO. We have local boards. So the information that's being presented right now is our national board, and so the organization's overall board and where those meetings take place. But we have local boards of each school that occur at each school. They're posted, they're Brown Act compliant. I'd also cite that the other board as well as Brown Act compliant. Those things are posted. Our most recent meeting, which happened in October, was at a school. Parents were there, and they actually presented to the board. So, I mean, we make every effort to ensure that the community is involved and can actively participate in our board meetings.
Can I ask a question about that? I had meant to. Well, let me ask, typically for your local boards, how many people are on those boards?
Richard Billings, Chief Financial Officer of Rocketship Education. Usually it's 3.
So 3 people on the local board?
Yes.
And
for the school's governing boards.
The school governing board. And how many of them might be parents?
Currently all 3 of them at each of our schools.
So your governing board at each school, they're all parents?
Currently, yes.
Okay. And then as far as any kind of issues that would be addressed by this locals board, give me an idea of what would be the specific things that they would be addressing serving as a local board?
Sure. I mean, they have the fiduciary duties of a school board, as well as approving the annual budget process, the annual audit process, the academic policies of the school.
Mm-hmm. And as far as anything that would happen there, how is that communicated to, I guess, the national board? Is there any, what is the relationship as far as any communication?
There's frequent communication between the national board and the schools boards. We try to invite the members of the schools board to attend the national board meetings, as well as members of the national office itself are the ones that help facilitate those meetings. They train the parents on how to be good board members. They train them on what it means to be a board member, as well as best practices associated with other schools, other school districts.
And would it be appropriate if not only for the 20 that we're considering, but for the ones that you already have in place, would it be appropriate as we require for that board to be part of your annual report to this board? Can we make that part of what we would expect moving forward as for, because I would imagine we'll be having each one of those schools on an annual basis coming to us, making a report on their school. And so I'm just wanting to see if we can set the expectation is that that board that's responsible for that school would be part of that presentation each year.
Yes. I mean, we would love to have our parents participate and our board members participate in the annual review process.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I just have one.
Please.
And just a follow-up as well. Thank you for those questions, Member Beachman. Those were useful. I'm also wondering, how do the parents, how do they know what they're supposed to do? How do they, I mean, do they just sit down and figure it out, or do they have guidelines? Where do those come from, and who directs them?
And we have board guidelines established through our national office, taking the best practices associated with our research around nonprofits, governance structures, what it means to be a board member. So we train them each year on the responsibilities associated with being a board member, as well as have a board handout that gives guidelines, responsibilities, and expectations for them.
And if they reach a conclusion that is not necessarily exactly aligned with maybe your national board, how do you negotiate that with them?
And we try to work incredibly hard to make sure that we are aligned, but at the end of the day, it is the responsibility of us as an organization to ensure that we are aligned and that the community members that have the oversight of the schools believe in what we're doing, and that we convince them, similar to going to a board like this, that we work with them to make sure that we're aligned on what the right approach is for the students of that school.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, on the same topic. And so how are those 3 members elected to that board?
So they're selected by the parent leaders of that school. So the parent leaders select the 3 board members.
Right, so they're selected by the parents who are actually there, who have kids at the school. One other thing, and I know we